Hey guys, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another heavy rotation. Got a good little stack here I can show you today. Hadn't done one of these in a little while. Just been slammed, you know. You guys have seen my shenanigans online, probably. Past few weeks been crazy. You know, planning to go to Florida, going to Florida, coming back, and then once I got back, I was like, well, I just spent the most money ever. So I need to go ahead and try to make something back. And then Record Store Day was right there. So I was like, let's just try to do it for Record Store Day. So last week I was running like a madman trying to get everything ready for Record Store Day, you know. Because although we don't do the Record Store Day, like we don't carry the stuff, I still do want to have good stuff out because people, like, they don't, you know, a lot of people don't care. They still come out, you know. They just like to hit all the record stores on Record Store Day, so you still have more people than usual on that day. So I try to pump out some really good used stuff. So, anyways, I don't know that I'll ever do Record Store Day in the future. You know, I don't know. Never say never, but probably not. Anyways, so it's been good. It's been good. Another thing, if you didn't see, we're doing our next exclusive is Orang-Utan, which is one of my absolute favorite hard rock records of all time. I love it so much. It's just face melting hard rock, really good vocals, really good guitar work. I've talked about this record endlessly. I love it so much. But we finally got to do an exclusive of it, so we got the pre-order up now. There's 1,000 copies. We made 1,000 copies, and more than half of them have sold, so they will sell out. So if you want to get one, go ahead and get one. Link is in the description. So also, if you're on Whatnot, we're auctioning off part of the Florida collection tonight. Tonight is Tuesday, April 20-something. And it's Tuesday night, and we're running everything at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it's like 4 p.m. Pacific. So if you're around, that link is also in the description. All right, we'll get to the records themselves. So also, how do you like my t-shirt? I got this, bought this in 9th grade. I found it like last week while we're kind of digging through. We're starting to put some like vintage t-shirts in the shop. We're going to start too soon. We're working on like building an inventory of them. And I was going through some of my old ones, and I haven't been able to wear this for a long time. And I lost about 25 pounds, so I was like, I'll try it on, and it fits pretty good. So I'm definitely going to keep this one because it has a kind of a story behind it. Maybe I'll tell it at the end, but I love this shirt, and it's all ragged and worn. So pretty cool. All right, we got this NSU Turn On or Turn Me Down. Really killer record. It's one of the Stable Records. Really killer. I've been wanting this for a long time. It's, you know, early 70s hard rock. This band, I believe, was from Scotland. It's something like Stable Records. This is a UK press. I think it only came out in the UK. I'm not sure, but it's been one that's on my radar for a long time. Just that classic, you hear it. It's just that piercing guitar, early 70s hard rock. But yeah, this is a Grail, really big check off my want list. Another one, I don't think I showed this one. I meant to show this one in my Grail episode I did a few episodes ago, but I don't think I did. It's called After All. I've been wanting this for forever. I got a reissue of it. I picked up a reissue in a record store probably 10 years ago, and it's just that cover. I didn't even know what it was, but that cover, I was like, I gotta have that. And over the years, it just has eluded me so much, and been wanting it. And all the copies that come up, they just seem to go for too much. So maybe that's what they go for. But they just seem to go, like, record prices are so nuts now. I mean, it's because there's all these people online, and if one idiot pays too much, then everybody's going to pay too much, because like every future seller's like, well, that guy pays $700, so it's got to be at least worth $700 or $600 or something. Everybody wants to squeeze every penny out of everything, so it's kind of hard to. It's hard to find. I mean, I'm fine sometimes, you know, just paying what they go for, but not more. I just can't, within my conscience, pay more than it should be selling for. Because the way I see it is, you know, when I buy a record like this, an original of this, it is an investment on my side because, like, let's say something happens and the crap hits the fan and I gotta liquidate some stuff, I can get my money back, if I need to. So I gotta have a deal on something that if I need to pull my money out, I can. Like, I don't remember how much I paid for this record, but if I need to sell it for that amount, I can sell it for at least that amount. I like to get them to where I'm getting them for a little cheaper than they usually go for. So if I need to sell them, I can make some money. But that's the dealer in me. But anyways, regardless of what it's worth and all that malarkey, it's a really good record. Early 70s hard rock, a little bit on the progressive side, but that cover just really drew me in my young man days, and I always wanted one. So I got an original of that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, that's the never ending, debate. Everybody that comes to the shop's like, man, records have gotten so expensive. And, when we went around to a bunch of record stores in Florida and stuff, like there were some record stores we went into that we didn't post videos about or whatever because their prices were so high. And it was just like, man, like when we were there, we had only enough time to hit the ones we wanted to hit. And so like there was one record store we missed because I wanted to go to another one, which the one I wanted to go to was a total bust because their prices were way too high. And I wish I had gone to the other one. But a lot of people when they're on a trip, they only have a certain amount of time and they got to pick which shops they're going to go to. So I'm not going to like really promote a shop that wasn't very good. So anyways, but it was a few like that where you walk into it and you see a record and you're like, this is like, I mean, I'm fine going into a shop and seeing a record that should go for $30 and it'd be 35. Like yeah, whatever, but I'm fine with paying it. If it's in my shop, I like to put it in there for 25, maybe 30 if it's something that's hard to find. But this shop or a couple of these shops, you go in and then it's $35 record, it's $50 or whatever, and you're like, what the heck? This is, I mean, you can go on Discogs or eBay and get this thing for $30 all day long, and it's 50 in here. Like I said, I'm okay paying a little bit more in a shop because you're supporting the local shop, and I get that, and that's fine. But it's just like some shops, it's like, what are you thinking? This is insane. So, anyways, that's my dog walking around. So, all that to say, I feel like in my shop prices are really good because it's I price them to move them. I get so many coming in and going out. But so this is one I've been listening to for free for a few years. A friend of mine recommended it to me, and I don't even know how much the originals go for. I know they go for a lot, and they're just really rare. They never come up. This is Bill Stone. This is this came out in 1970, but this is so apparently I don't know who did, but somebody found a bunch of the original discs, but they didn't have covers with them. So they reprinted the cover. And so the disc is original, but the cover's not. And they were selling these on Discogs for like 60, 65 bucks, something like that. And like I said, the originals go for a lot. I can't remember how much the originals go for, but several hundred, if not more. And they never come around. So I was like, well, I'd love to just have a copy and get, the cover looks exactly the same. It's just, the disc. So that's a cool, but it's like on the acid folk, freak folk type of things. Really, really good, like acoustic folk record. Another one, I was going through my collection, trying to pull some things out. I do it every once in a while. Like I'll pull 100 records out of my collection and put them on Whatnot or put them in the shop or something. And last time I was going through, I was having a really hard time picking 100 because I have the more times I do it, the less I want to get rid of. And right now, I've got a lot of records in here, but right now I'm like, there's not really 100 records I really want to get rid of out of here. Everything's pretty high and tight. So, but one was this Animated Egg record, and I had early UK press, but it wasn't a first. And it wasn't on the same level. It was on like Marble Arch label, and I was like, well, I'll put it on there. And it's still like a fairly valuable record, but it's not a first. So I'm like, I'll go ahead and get rid of this one and hopefully get a first. And so put it on Whatnot. I don't remember what it went for. It went for a decent amount. And then like the next week, this original press popped up on eBay. And it's a really, really nice copy. And it was for the exact same price I sold the other one for. So I was like, awesome. I'll get that. So anyways, it's the first press of Animated Egg. Really, really good late 60s psychedelic, a little on the garage side of psychedelic fuzz guitar, all that stuff. I really, really like this record. It's not a terribly expensive psych record. It's you usually get them for $100 or less. Once I say terribly expensive psych records, I mean you're gonna be like $100 is way too much. You know, some of these psych records go for $2,000. You know, it just depends. You know, it's not like July used to, when I first started looking for a copy of July, they were going for, you know, $100, $150, maybe 200. And then now, I don't know, but that was 15 years ago. You know, now that July goes for $700-800 sometimes. So that's a tough one to get. This one, Communication by Bobby Womack. This is a really clean promo copy of this, which this is a record you can get for really cheap. This is a cheap heat alert. I mean, I think I put them out all the time for like $6.99 in my shop. And I get them all the time. But this is like the cleanest one I've ever seen, and it's a promo. So I was like, I'm going to keep that. But really fantastic funk soul record. I listened to it the other day. You know, something like this comes along, and I'll get them all the time, but never see them clean. See one this clean, I always like, I'll listen to this before I get rid of it, because, you know, it's rare. It's rare to find them clean. You know, it's funny. It's just rare to find them clean. So that one's a clean one, and I was like, well, I'm gonna keep that one, put it in my stack at home. This is one that I've been wanting for a long time. This is Townsend Van Zandt Live and Obscure. In my Townsend Van Zandt collecting, I haven't talked about Townsend Van Zandt in a while, probably, but he's probably my favorite songwriter ever. Not to say he's the best, but I think he's definitely in the conversation of the best songwriters ever. But just the way he does it, I like. You know what I mean? It's like arguing over the best cereal. Certain people like it, you know, sweet, you Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Certain people just like the bland, you know, like the whatever. Anyways, I don't know that much about cereals, but I do know about Townsend Van Zandt. And it's a great record. It's just kind of a harder one to get on Sugar Hill. I haven't seen one at a reasonable price, but this one popped up on eBay for like $30, which is a great price for it. And so I nabbed it, and the idiot that sent it to me, I'm sorry, I don't usually use that type of language on my channel, but my God, the shipping was so bad. It was literally bent like that. Like, I mean, it was bent. Like, when I got it, I pulled the record out, it was like that. I was like, oh my God. So I put it in my flattener, and it flattened out fine, but still pissed me off. Like, this time of year is so hot. Like, you don't think it's gonna mess up if you bend it? Like, if you bend it to stick them in the package, you know, very little patience for people who don't ship things right. You know, most record collectors are that way. Sam and Dave, Double Dynamite. Sam and Dave, great on stacks. This came through and actually kind of slipped past me. I didn't, and I knew it looked like a pretty clean copy, but I had a box of records that one of my guys was pricing, and he was getting ready to, I usually, like, I'll let them price the records, but I don't really, I trust them, but not, you know, completely. Because the guy that was pricing his records, he's like, he's a younger kid that works for me, and he's like, understands Discogs really well. Like, he gets it really well. And so I'm like, look all this up on Discogs, price and whatever. And so he, like, 95% of everything he prices like perfect. And so, like, before we put them out, I zip through them to make sure everything's right, put them out. I might pick a couple out that I feel like need to be lower or higher or whatever. But this one I think he had priced it for like $25 or something. But this is a near mint white label promo of Sam and Dave, Double Dynamite. So the thing is, like, this record never comes clean, and the promos on Discogs are off. Like, the prices are off on there. They're way cheaper than they should be most of the time. I've found some like killer deals on promos on Discogs before, but the promo of this had not really sold much, and everything that had sold had been like in really bad shape. So this one, I don't know what it's worth, but it's worth $25. And I was like, it's a white label promo. It's near mint. I'm keeping it. So I love all the stack stuff. You know, I'm a sucker for a promo. Hawkwind, Space Ritual. This is a fantastic record. I've been wanting a UK press for a long time. This is a UK press. In the collection that we got in Florida, I didn't realize that it was a UK press in there until I got home. And so I put my copy in the shop and kept this. So really amazing. If you like space rock type stuff, Hawkwind, awesome. I got this one in Florida. I did mention it in my video. Azara Lawrence, Summer Solstice. And this is one, I think I paid like 25 or 30 bucks for this, which is right on the nose what you should pay for it. It's not really expensive, but it's on Prestige, but it sounds like an expensive record. When you listen to it, you're like, it's funky. It's like jazz fusion-y. It's really killer. I've been enjoying this a lot lately. This one was in the Florida collection. This is Montgomery bass Odyssey. Yeah, this is a really killer record, so it's got a price tag over. But if you look at that picture of him just sitting there with a bass, yeah, when you see this, you're going to pick it up. But somebody came in the shop like a couple years ago, a friend of mine, and he was like, "Did you ever see this record?" And I was like, "No, I'll keep my eyes peeled for it." And he has another record that's pretty good, but this one is really, really, really good. Just real funky, has some psychedelic type of moments to it. Really good. Bass Odyssey, Montgomery. This is one I know I mentioned it in the video. Jackie McLean, Demon's Dance. Fantastic. Holy moly. I love this record so much. I mean, you know, jazz records, certain ones are thousands of dollars and certain ones are $50. This one, when I first started looking for it, was a little bit lower. You know, it was, I don't know, it was cheaper. Like under $100 cheaper, you know. And then the past few years, it's just shot up. You know, after the pandemic, Blue Notes just went through the roof. And these now, like a clean copy of this is, you know, $250 or whatever, you know. And I've been wanting it for so long, and it's so clean, perfect copy. For me, it's that cover. It's so killer, and the music's really killer too. I love Jackie McLean, one of my favorites. But it's just such a cool record. I'm so excited to have that one. That one's one of the most, the ones I'm most excited about. The next one is Teru Nakamura, Rising Sun. This is a U.S. press, but this is a Japanese musician, really killer, like funk fusion, funk jazz type of thing. I don't think it's a really expensive record, but it was in that collection, the Florida collection. I know I didn't mention it in the video, but this is amazing, fantastic, like jazz fusion funk type of stuff. So I know I showed this one in my video where me and Dob were digging for records in Florida. But when you get to a different state, you know what I do anyways, looking for records, which I don't do a lot, but I hope to do more of in the future. Certain states, certain things you look out for, you know. Like certain states have their local grails. One of them in Florida is this Obatala record. Like I said, I know I already showed this, but it's so killer. And I could not believe it when I walked in there and it was on the wall. I was like, because you just never see it. It's like, I think like 40 people own it on Discogs, which is like, that's considerably rare. But this is 1977 Boogie Funk Soul. That year, 77, is like, you know, 71 for hard rock. It's like that boogie funk disco sound of 1977 is so killer. And like Brief Encounter came out in 77, a bunch of really killer funk records did. But this is just one I never thought I'd see in person, just seeing it there. And I've listened to it a ton since then. Such a freaking killer record. And like I said, I mean, just seeing it, I was just mind blown. Another one is that this one came from the collection, and I can't remember if I talked about it much, but it's Goblins, Suspiria. So it's weird. I was talking to a customer of mine that comes in all the time. Really nice dude, and he's a projectionist. He's worked in movie theaters since he was like 16 years old. And he's like, I don't know, probably mid to late 40s now. And he's, you know, so he sees like tons of movies, and he's like obsessed with soundtracks and loves it and all that stuff. And I was just telling him, like, I'm not really a soundtrack guy. most of the time. Like most of the time, I don't really care about soundtracks. But Goblin, all their soundtracks were killer. I mean, just from a music standpoint, they were killer. But I don't know. There's something about the 70s, 80s horror movies like that. It was just different. The scores were really cool. It's a whole thing, And growing up, I grew up and like my dad was a Baptist preacher, and like in our house, no horror movies at all. Absolutely not. Like just absolutely no. Um, and I didn't really want to watch horror movies. I remember sneaking off to the theater. Yeah, I think I was in like sixth or seventh grade, going with a friend to see Signs, and thought I was watching a horror movie, which it wasn't. But at the time, it was the scariest movie I'd ever seen. Anyways, but like now as an adult, around Halloween, I'll watch some horror movies, and I really like them, and I kind of hate that I missed out on that as a kid. Growing up in such a strict household like that, I missed out on, like, my parents wouldn't let me watch Power Rangers because it was too violent, and like people my age, I'm 34, so people my age, they're super nostalgic about like Power Rangers and Spider-Man and I just like wasn't allowed to watch that stuff because my parents didn't want me fighting or whatever. And which, I mean, whatever. Anyways, but so the things I'm nostalgic about, like nobody else my age is really nostalgic about because it's just my own thing, which is fine. It's just funny to think about. But horror movies, and like we weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween at all. We didn't. I never went trick or treating one time my whole life, stuff like that. So it's just kind of funny. But I had a great childhood. I don't want to complain about it. It's just like I'm kind of catching up on that as an adult. Like, I really do like. So I'm going back and watching some of the old horror movies, and kind of appreciating them for what they are now. But, it's just funny to think about. Anyways, this is another one. I didn't even know about this record, but obviously when you see something like this, you pull it out. It's Luis Bonfa, Jacaranda. This is like a really cool, like Latin sounding. I wouldn't say it's easy listening, but a little jazz, funky Latin sounding record. But yeah, I saw it in that collection, pulled it out, and been listening to it a little bit. It's a really killer record. And then yesterday, so like we've been going, we go to Goodwill's all the time. My kids love Goodwill, and my son, my 9-year-old, he like loves DVDs, and like he has like a DVD player that he like. I mean, I don't know. It's like he's a DJ with it. Like he's the one. He has autism, and he like that's his thing. He loves DVDs, loves like figuring out all these different combinations of how he could do things, and he like messes with the color sequences and stuff and on the TV itself, and he's like always messing with it. Like I'll put him on my turntable in here, and he's like adjusting the speed and like putting in reverse and all this stuff. Like he loves all that type of stuff. So anyways, we go to Goodwill. We bring them in sometimes, and they love it. And me and my wife look for records and coffee mugs and like old T-shirts and stuff like that. And some like we just recently started looking at the T-shirts, trying to find stuff, and we found a lot of really killer stuff. Yesterday, we went around to like a ton just because we needed like a family day, and we all like doing it. But anyways, yesterday I went to a Goodwill and I found this. Walk in, first thing I see is this Farrah Sanders OG just sitting right there, which like it was like right on top. I was like, what the heck? Never see that ever. I mean, come on. It wasn't in great shape, but it's 49 cents, so I'm gonna buy it. And there's another like weird record in there. I didn't know what it was, so I bought it. And then like a bunch of like singles. This one is Jackie Weaver, The Tingle. And that one goes for like 150 to 200 on the interwebs. But this is just like a bunch of like a lot of white label promo stuff. This was Jack McDuff, the Honey Dripper. Look at this old Prestige label. Really cool. But some stuff on Federal, I always get that stuff. This was not like a super expensive one. Ray Bryant, New Jazz label, really cool. But anyways, pyramid, like pretty much anything on that pyramid label you grab. But anyway, I don't know that much about 45s. Freddie King, Federal. But I will, just because I'm in the biz, I will dig on some 45s. You gotta learn it. Like, the first probably year of having my shop, I was like, I don't know 45s. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to look at them. I don't care about them. They don't get me going. I don't, whatever. But then you start getting so many in, and you're like, I really should learn this, And so I kind of learned it out of having to, because it's you don't want to throw something away that's good, which I wouldn't throw them away anyways. But I knew people were coming in. Like, I just had these box of 45 sitting out and be like 50 cents each, just dig. And people would be like, just grabbing stuff, I'm like, I know they're finding stuff, but I don't really know what I'm looking at. And I don't have the time to sit and look them up. And so, one time I found one that was like, I got $1,200 for it. And I was like, I really need to learn the 45. So, now I know what to look for with them at least. And then, I gotta look them up, because most of them, a lot of them, labels, certain labels are always good, and then certain ones aren't. But still, I'm not the smartest about 45s, but I'll get there. But anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this. I think I've told the story before about this t-shirt's involved. Long story short, had a math teacher in 9th grade, algebra actually, so it's not really math, it's just nonsense, but had an algebra teacher in 9th grade, and her son and I were arch nemesis, enemies as such, in high school. And I don't remember why, but we we just had a little bit of a beef for some reason. I don't even, like I said, don't remember why. And she ended up failing me. She tried to fail me, we'll say that. I was on spring break at the beach with my cousins. All right? It was like the best time of the year for me. Me and my cousins all went down to Florida for spring break, and we loved it. Every single year, I looked forward to it all year long. Like, swear to God, the minute I get down there, my mom calls me and says, your algebra teacher called and said that you're failing and there's nothing you can do about it. So I call my algebra teacher from the beach, and I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, your grades are terrible, and you were going to fail no matter what. She said you can make 100 on everything you do from now on, and you would still fail. And I was like, I have a hard time believing that. Like, my grades weren't great, but they weren't that bad. So I worried about it all week. It ruined my whole spring break. I was so upset about it. I got back and then looked, and I said, let me see your grade book. And she wouldn't let me see her grade book, because she's like, other students' grades are in there, you can't see it. So waited a little bit. And then when she went to the bathroom one day, I grabbed her grade book and opened it and looked, and all of we went to a private school that was kind of weird, but homework was 60% of the grades. So, like, if you didn't do well in your homework assignments, you would fail. So I went and looked, and all the homework assignments said 0 across the board. And I was like, I did all my homework. And so I had my folder that I kept all my stuff in, and all my homework stuff was in there. So I took the grade book, took my homework folder down to the office, and I slapped it out on my principal's desk, and I said, what do you make of this? And he was like, this is weird. And I mean, she had her handwriting where she graded it all. And so something was going on. So they called her down to the office, and I was pissed. I was in 9th grade, so I was pretty disrespectful probably. I got suspended. I do remember that much. It was bad, but she got fired. So anyways, she didn't get fired on the spot. They let her finish the year out, but they didn't let her come back. I don't know that she got fired because of me, but I suspect it probably was. That was a really messed up thing to do. But anyways, the way I remember it is, last day of school, she hated me, obviously, at this point. Last day of school, I had to take this test, and it was going to decide whether or not I had to come for summer school. And I was upset about it. I knew I wasn't going to pass. I sucked at algebra. She didn't teach anything. She literally would just write stuff on the board and let us read out of her book. She was horrible. And so I took the test, and then she said that she would call my house and let me know if I passed or not. So my friend said, hey, do you want to go? A bunch of us are going to like the mall and we're going to hang out and all this stuff and celebrate the school being out. I said, no, I just want to go home and wait by my phone and see if I passed. I was just so upset because, summertime when you're a kid, it's like everything. So I sat and waited by the phone. Sure enough, about 5 o'clock, she calls and says, Dylan, you passed. And I was like, yes! Yeah, right, I did! Yeah! I was like this guy. Anyways, so I was so stoked. I said, I did it on my own. You suck. I was so excited about it. But anyway, so then I went to the mall with my friends. My mom dropped me off at the mall, and I bought this shirt. And that's the story of this shirt, which I know you probably don't care about, but it's just nostalgic for me. And my wife's like, don't you want to get rid of it? And I was like, no.